Good morning. Thank you, Mark. I know Mark asked that he should be called a lion, and he also referenced his 16 years in the newsroom. As someone who's been in the newsroom for more than a quarter of a century, I'll tell you, Mark, that when you get to my age, you don't want to be a lion. You just want to take your pressure medicine and sleep. I have the easiest of tasks this morning. My name is Daniel Kalinaki. Like I said, I've been in the newsroom for a very long time. Too long, I think. When Chris was showing the demographics, it was just shocking to see how many participants weren't born when I was writing stories in the newsroom. It's a cue for me to actually go take my medicine, yeah? First, I would like to thank Chris, Maurice, and the team at Baraza on my behalf and on behalf of the other directors. Some of them are here. Others you probably get a chance to see them before the end of the festival. We're very grateful that you were able to put this together. I would also like to thank all of you for finding the time to come. I hope that you will participate, share your knowledge, ask questions, take as much as you give. As someone who straddles the traditional media landscape and also has an eye on kind of the new media, the emerging media, I am always struck by the difference in the energy. When we have sessions for traditional or legacy media, partly because of the age group, it's a very laid back, people kind of dozing in the background, sneaking off to pop their pills. Then you come to a place like this and there's young people, there's energy in the room, there's ideas. So I'm looking forward personally to learn very much from what we're going to have over the next 2 days. Over the holidays, I read a book called Necessary Endings. And the argument is that for things to be born, things need to die. If you are taking care of plants, you need to cut off either the bits that are diseased or the bits that will never make it. If it's a tree, you cut off the branches that are never going to be, straight and long. And in a way, it could be argued that the problems in legacy media, some of them are necessary endings for new participants, for new players to actually enter the room. The entry barriers to legacy media meant that many people, if you couldn't afford a printing press, if you couldn't afford a broadcast license, regardless of the talent that you had, you just never got a chance to get into the door. I think new media has allowed people with talent and not necessarily deep pockets to actually come and challenge that space. And I think there is some positivity out of that. The other thing that I see is that there is almost a new winds of change blowing across the African continent. It's been going on for many years. You can see it in, for instance, Nigerian music spreading across the region. You can see it in bongo music or bongo culture. You can see it in the South African amapiano, which I can't stand for the life of me, but younger people, different strokes for different folks. But you can also see it in kind of the deeper, harder things, like younger Africans who demand a higher level of accountability, demand a higher level of transparency, who want to hold those in power more accountable. We can see interest beyond borders. If, it's Bobby Wine in Uganda, if it's, even Malema in South Africa, if it's, some of the younger revolutionaries in West Africa, there is, I think, the emergence of a new Pan-African reality. And my hope and prayer is that as more and more young people begin to create content, that they're not creating content as an end in itself, but that they can drive the emergence of new constructive This is sabotage.
It's because you said you don't like Amapiano. I mean, how could you?
That must be the DJ. But I hope we can see the emergence of a new Pan-African sense of purpose, and that young people can hold themselves, but also those in power beyond borders, because the generation that took over this continent at independence kind of, in many cases, replaced the colonial powers. We're seeing young people with the opportunity to speak out even about the things in countries that they do not belong to, because their identity is not restricted to the passports that they carry. So I'm looking forward to the conversations, and I hope that you enjoy yourselves, and thank you very much for having me.